हॅलो, आवाज येतोय? आवाज येतोय का? कॅन यू हिअर मी? आवाज येतोय का? हॅलो, आवाज येतोय का? बोला. आणि स्क्रीन दिसतोय का? इज इट विजिबल? स्क्रीन इज विजिबल और नॉट? Screen is visible. बोलो कोई तो भी. तेवढं तरी सांगा, स्क्रीन दिसतोय की नाही किंवा आवाज येतोय की नाही. हॅलो. Is the screen visible? हॅलो. Zeba. Zeba, are you there? Zeba. करिश्मा. हॅलो. बोला कोणीतरी. आवाज येतोय का? स्क्रीन दिसतोय का? देवांशी. ओके. You can see the screen ना? स्क्रीन दिसतोय का? आता दिसतंय? दिसतोय का आता स्क्रीन? Okay, so next topic is pyelonephritis. Okay, the renal infection by whatever route it originates, it is never confined to the renal pelvis. Okay, it is the renal infection is not confined to renal pelvis, only renal pelvis. Whole the kidney is can be affected. Okay, the infection is it may be hematogenous route or may be ascending. In hematogenous infection, the renal parenchyma is attacked first. Okay, when there is any renal infection, and if the spread of route of that infection is hematogenous, then the renal parenchyma is attacked first, and the infection will spread to renal pelvis. While in ascending infection, the bacterial inflammation is not limited to the renal pelvis. It implicates the calyces, the pyramids, and at least some part of adjacent parenchyma. Okay, so pyelonephritis or the renal infection, it may spread by two routes, that is hematogenous route or by ascending infections. Ascending infection is from urethra, then to urinary bladder, and then ureter, and then to the kidney. Okay, and hematogenous route is through blood. Okay, so when there is hematogenous infection, the renal parenchyma is attacked first, and it will spread then to the renal pelvis. Okay, and in ascending bacterial infection, the inflammation is not limited just up to the renal pelvis, but there may be spread of infection to the calyces, then to the pyramids, and some part of adjacent renal parenchyma. Okay, so we'll start with first topic from that is acute pyelonephritis. This acute pyelonephritis is more common in females, especially during childhood, then at puberty, then soon after marriage, that is called as honeymoon pyelitis, and during pregnancy and after at menopause. Okay, so acute pyelonephritis is more common in females, that means at childhood, at puberty, soon after marriage, during pregnancy, and at menopause. It occurs more often on the right side than the left side, and but it is frequently bilateral. Okay, so the acute once again I'll repeat. Okay, there is some network problem. I will start again. The renal infection is not confined to renal pelvis. Okay, the renal infection is not confined to pelvis. This pyelonephritis, uh, it affects the kidney as well as renal pelvis and ureter. Whole excretory system can be affected, and the route of spread of infection is hematogenous or ascending. So when there is hematogenous infection, first the renal parenchyma is affected, then renal pelvis, then other parts of excretory system. And when there is ascending infection, first The infection will ascend from ureter to the renal pelvis and then to the kidney. So the term pyelonephritis, that's why it is used, not only pyelitis, but the term that is used is pyelonephritis. That means renal pelvis as well as the kidney, that is nephron, that is also affected. So we'll start with acute pyelonephritis. It is common in females in all age groups, like in childhood, puberty, then soon after marriage, during pregnancy, and at menopause. Okay, the term that is honeymoon pyelitis after marriage, soon after marriage, the females may get pyelitis or pyelonephritis because of during sexual intercourse, the bacterial infection may pass through the urethra because of closer proximity of the urethral opening and of the vaginal opening. Because of closer proximity of those two openings, there may be spread of infection from urethra. It will spread, it will ascend to the urinary bladder, then to the ureter, and then renal pelvis is affected, and then kidney. Okay, so the term is used, that is honeymoon pyelitis. Then it is also common during pregnancy and at menopause. This acute pyelonephritis is frequently bilateral, but it is more common on right side. It is frequently bilateral, but it is more common on right. The clinical features of pyelonephritis: there will be prodromal symptoms like headache, lassitude, nausea that is present. There will be sudden onset of rigors and vomiting. Then pain that is present in flanks and in hypochondrium. In some patient, pain will radiate from loin to groin, that is ureteric colic. We have seen the ureteric colic, that pain will spread from loin to groin. Then there will be rise of temperature. There will be increased frequency of urine, that is because of cystitis, that is urinary bladder infection. Then the urine is acidic, and therefore there will be scalding pain in urethra. On examination, there will be tenderness in hypochondrium. As we have seen, the pain is in hypochondrium and it will travel from loin to groin. So when you examine, when you palpate the uh, or while doing the per abdominal examination, there will be tenderness in hypochondrium and angle between the 12th rib and sacrospinalis muscle with varying degree of muscle rigidity. Muscle rigidity may be present while palpating the abdomen. Okay. If it is bilateral with associated obstruction, then symptoms of uremia may be present. Okay. So these are the clinical features. Once again, I will repeat. The prodromal symptoms like headache, lassitude, and nausea are present. The onset is usually sudden, and it often commences with rigors, and even vomiting will be present. There will be acute pain in flanks and in hypochondrium. In few cases, the pain may radiate from loin to groin, that is, ureteric colic may be present. The temperature will be raised, that is about 38.8 to 39.5 degrees Celsius. Soon after the onset, there will be increased frequency of micturition. Increased frequency of micturition is because of cystitis, that is inflamed infected bladder, urinary bladder. Then urine will be acidic and micturition is accompanied by scalding pain in the urethra. Then when you examine the patient, there will be tenderness in hypochondrium and in angle between the 12th rib and sacrospinalis muscles. And it is accompanied by varying degree of muscular rigidity. And in early stages, when it is imperative to make a correct diagnosis, the urine is clear microscopically. And in some cases, in severe bilateral pyelonephritis, when there is severe bilateral pyelonephritis, particularly when it is associated with obstruction, then there will be symptoms of uremia may be present. So in pyelonephritis, you have to investigate the patient, you have to do the urine examination, and you have to take the midstream specimen that should be collected in a sterile bottle. Okay, midstream urine that is collected in the sterile bottle, and then the urine is centrifuged and it is examined microscopically. And in early acute pyelonephritis, there are typically few pus cells may be present and many bacteria are present. When the pyelonephritis has become when the pyelonephritis has been present for 24 hours or more, then the urine is often cloudy and pus cells are uh, more pus cells. There will be more pus cells, abundant pus cells are present. Okay. So exact estimation should be given in the when there is when you take the urine examination, when you do the urine examination, the exact estimation of pus cells should be written. That is, it should not be written as many or some or few pus cells are present, but exact estimation, that is about 8 to 10 pus cells or how many pus cells are present, that should be written uh, on that urinary examination sheet. Okay. So once again, I will repeat urine examination. The midstream sample should be collected in a sterile bottle. Then this urine is centrifuged and the microscopic examination of that urine is done. Then in early stages, there will be few pus cells and there will be many bacteria that are present. But after 24 hours, there will be cloudy urine with more pus cells, abundant pus cells are present. In severe cases, There will be repeated rigors. Shivering येतं पेशंटला, थंडी वाजून येते. Repeated rigors are present and temperature will rise without corresponding rise in pulse rate. Okay, there may be no rise of pulse rate, but temperature will be raised and there will be repeated rigors. Vomiting, sweating is present along with great thirst, and there will be ill look of the patient. After some time, the pain is located in one or both the loins. There will be scanty urine and which is highly concentrated. Okay, so in severe cases, there are repeated rigors and the temperature will rise about 40 degrees to 40.5 degrees Celsius, and it is often without a corresponding rise of pulse rate. There will be vomiting, sweating, great thirst is present, patient will look and feel ill, and the blood culture, if the specimen is taken soon after rigors, it will often give positive results. And after some time, some hours, the pain is localized in one or rarely both the loins. The urine becomes scanty, it is highly concentrated, and it is um, okay, it is scanty and highly concentrated. And in blood-borne infection, that is when there is a hematogenous infection is present, the organisms and pus cells do not appear in urine until the infection has spread from cortex to the medulla. Okay, until the infection spreads from cortex to medulla, there will be no pus cells in the urine. Okay, when there is blood-borne infection or hematogenous root infection is present, then pus cells will not appear in urine until infection has spread from cortex to the medulla. The next is differential diagnosis. That is, first differential diagnosis is pneumonia. How to differentiate between pyelonephritis and pneumonia? Bolo. How will you differentiate between the pyelonephritis and pneumonia? न्यूमोनिया में क्या होता है और पायलोनेफ्राइटिस में क्या होता है? हाँ बोलो. Which are the symptoms that are present in pyelonephritis and in pneumonia? न्यूमोनिया में क्या होता है, कौन से सिम्टम रहते हैं, और पायलोनेफ्राइटिस में कौन से सिम्टम रहते हैं? हाउ विल यू डिफरेंशिएट these two conditions, pneumonia and pyelonephritis? अभिषेक. बोलो. आवाज येतोय ना? माझा आवाज येतोय ना? बोलो फिर. बोला. न्यूमोनियामध्ये काय होतं पेशंटला आणि पायलोनेफ्रायटिसमध्ये काय होतं? न्यूमोनियामध्ये कोणते सिम्पटम्स जास्त असतात? रेस्पिरेटरी सिम्पटम्स विल बी मोर. Okay, there will be cough, cold, fever is present. Dyspnea is present in pneumonia, while these symptoms are not present in when there is पाइलोनेफ्राइटिस. पाइलोनेफ्राइटिस होगा पेशेंट को तो उसको ज़रूरी नहीं है कि कफ कोल्ड है, डिस्निया है. ओके, एंड देन यू हैव टू इन्वेस्टिगेट अकॉर्डिंगली. The next condition is acute appendicitis. Acute appendicitis may patient will have pain in McBurney's point. In right iliac fossa pain is present, while in pyelonephritis there will be pain in hypochondriac region. In okay, then in acute cholecystitis, the Murphy's sign is present. That is, pain is in. Where will be the pain in acute cholecystitis? विंटर बॅचला झालंय हे सगळं कोलेसिस्टायटिस, न्यूमोनिया एक्सेट्रा, acute appendicitis. What is cholecystitis? What is cholecystitis? Okay, this will be homework for you. How will you differentiate pneumonia and pyelonephritis? How will you differentiate acute appendicitis and pyelonephritis, and acute cholecystitis and pyelonephritis? The differentiating points you have to tell me. Next lecture. Okay? Is it okay? हाँ या ना वो तो बोलो. Okay. Okay, next point is pyelonephritis in pregnancy. It is common between 4 to 6 months of gestation. Okay, this pyelonephritis is common between the 4 to 6 month of gestation. It is commoner in women who have had recurrent bouts of cystitis or pyelonephritis in past. Okay, that means there will be history of recurrent cystitis or pyelonephritis. That the women who have had recurrent bouts of cystitis or pyelonephritis in past. Okay, those are more prone for pyelonephritis in pregnancy. In 90% of cases, the right side alone is affected, and the initiating causes are often chronic urethritis or cervical erosion. The initial cause of this pyelonephritis is chronic urethritis. If the patient is having chronic urethritis, there will be, when there is history of recurrent cystitis or pyelonephritis. Okay, so in those patients, as patient is having chronic urethritis, or if the patient is having cervical erosion, and then this is more main cause for pyelonephritis in pregnancy. The symptoms will not differ from those of pyelonephritis that occur in non-pregnant women. So symptoms are same as that of in pyelonephritis, uh, who pyelonephritis that occur in non-pregnant women. Okay, so the symptoms are same as that of pyelonephritis, and in about 10% of cases, the disease will run a more severe and protracted course. Occasionally, it results in abortion or premature birth. Okay, in 10% of cases, the disease may take severe form and a protracted course, and occasionally it will result in abortion or premature birth. So, in all patients who have had pyelonephritis in pregnancy, the periodic examination of urine is necessary during the rest of pregnancy. So, you have to investigate or you have to do the urine examination throughout the pregnancy in the patients who have had pyelonephritis in pregnancy. The next point is pyelonephritis in childhood, that is urinary infection in childhood. It is not uncommon, that is, it is also common. It is important to recognize because it frequently involves the kidneys. Okay. In recurrent cases, it occurs, it causes severe renal damage and it may cause renal failure. So urinary infection in childhood is also common, and it is important to recognize because it frequently involves the kidneys. It involves the kidneys, and if it is recurrent, then it may lead to severe renal impairment or renal failure in early adult life. In young children, there may be no urinary symptoms, although the mother may notice a cloudy urine or offensive urine. And if a child fails to thrive, or when the child refuses to eat, or if he is having high temperature with rigors or convulsions, there may be the possibility of urinary infections. Okay, so the in child. So, in urinary infection in childhood, uh, in recurrent cases, it will cause renal damage and renal failure. In young children, urinary symptoms may not be present, and mother will notice that the child is having offensive and cloudy urine. Along with those symptoms, the child will refuse to eat. There will be high fever along with rigors, and there may be convulsions may be present. There will be pain or screaming on micturition. The child will scream or due to pain. Child will cry because of the pain. And if the child is in older child that may complain of loin pain, okay, and or suddenly he may suddenly develop frequency and enuresis. Then lastly, treatment of pyelonephritis. The essential factor in curing pyelonephritis are early, correct, and prolonged treatment. You have to treat the treatment should be early. You have to start early treatment, correct treatment, and prolonged treatment. And you have to take a careful follow-up with repeated cultures and white cell counts of the urine after the treatment has finished. A full investigation to exclude the abnormalities in the urinary tract should be undertaken when the acute attack is controlled. Okay, so you have to start the early correct treatment and prolonged treatment and along with investigations, urine examination and urine culture uh, and white cell counts of the urine should be repeated, and you have to do the full investigation to exclude the abnormalities in the urinary tract after the acute attack is controlled. Then when you take the urine sample, you have to take the midstream specimen of urine, and that is sent for culture and sensitivity of the organism to select the antibiotic. So you have to give the proper antibiotic after the investigation, that is urine culture and sensitivity test, and uh, proper antibiotic is selected with the help of that urine culture and sensitivity, and proper antibiotic is given to the patient. Then bed rest is important. If the patient is complaining of pain, severe pain is present, if severe pain is present, then antispasmodic is given to relieve the pain. Okay. Then if the urine is in acidic in nature, as it is in common coliform infections, then alkalization of urine has the most beneficial effect in relieving the symptoms. Then patient should be instructed to drink large quantities of bland fluid, at least 3 liters in 24 hours. In severe cases with vomiting and dehydration, then intravenous dextrose saline is given until the dehydration has been rectified and vomiting has ceased. Okay, so this is the treatment for pyelonephritis. That is, you have to take the midstream sample, the urine midstream urine sample, and it is sent for culture and sensitivity to select the proper antibiotic. Bed rest is very important. Then, if the urine is acidic in nature, then alkalinization of urine it has most beneficial effect. Then if the patient is having severe pain, then you have to give antispasmodic, and patient should be instructed to drink large quantities of blunt fluid, at least 3 liters in 24 hours. And if the patient is having vomiting along with dehydration in severe cases, then you have to start with intravenous dextrose saline uh, until the dehydration has been rectified and the vomiting has ceased. Okay, so this is all about the pyelonephritis. That's all for today. I will stop here now. Okay. कोणाचा फोन होता पाच 4-5 वेळा फोन एक मागे
अभी 3 बॉल बाकी है वो ना पास नहीं चलता है मेरा भी नहीं होगा